Hello, it is Lord Haywire. I am streaming some 2D4X today, except that it's going to be different today. You might notice that we have an empty uh, project here, and it's called Clock with Ticks Prototype. What we're going to do differently today is so I used breakpoints for the first time in Writer this week while I was offline. I wanted to, I got that bug last stream that I couldn't figure out, and I was trying to figure out what the fuck was going on because it shouldn't have been happening. It just happened suddenly out of the blue, and it was terrible, and I hated it. And so I did the breakpoint. I almost open up the stream with looking at that stuff, but it's a waste of time to look at stuff that I already looked at. But basically, what was happening is I have in the time. Things fire at 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, and 4 o'clock in the morning. And what was happening was two things have been firing at like 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock. And it just by coincidence, they're both supposed to fire at the same time. But of course, that doesn't happen because that's not how programming works. And so it was working, and then all of a sudden they switched order. And because they switched order, it broke. And so, like, pretty much the whole game's busted. And so I should start over from scratch is what I was joking to myself. But instead of starting over from scratch, what we're going to do, Joker, how's it going? What we're going to do is we're going to fix the clock. And so we're going to do a prototype here. Instead of fixing it in the actual project, because I'm not really sure how to do this, we're going to use ChatGPT. Right? No. So we're going to redo the clock, but with a tick system, because someone suggested that I needed a tick system, and I asked Claude AI, and maybe we should look at what they said, because I only read part of it, because I stopped caring. I was like, yep, thing's busted. Let's see what it said. Tick system. Here we go. We made this a little bigger. So I asked it, I'm using the time in the game engine. Is he using a tick system for his game? Does he need a tick system for his game? And so then they replied back like, yeah, what you're currently using updates the game state based on elapsed time, which is our delta time. So in like process, I was going to go to it, but we have nothing. This is all we got right now. We're starting over. But it does it in the let me make sure I click this button over here. Yes, I did. Yes, I did click that button over there. Let's go back to here. Game logic runs at every frame, scaled, so that's great. Updates happen in discrete steps or ticks, so I guess we should open up this other project just to compare here, because I want to show what I'm doing. I'm just going to open up the clock though, and it's asking me, what do you want to open this up in? What is this thing? So we have this clock, and it does use a tick system, but it's not it's the ticks are every whatchamacallit, every frame. So like here's our ticks already, and then down here somewhere I gotta find my process. How are we doing this? We're gonna have to figure out how pausing is gonna work. Pausing is gonna be weird. So here's our time scales. So we're modifying the actual time scales, and we're not gonna do that. This modified time scale is modifying the engine's time. So the engine runs faster. We're not gonna modify the engine's time. We're gonna modify the ticks, and that's the big difference, I guess. Okay, here's our process. And it runs the timekeeper every frame, basically. And so it actually would run differently. And and it's still going to do this. It's going to run differently the more frame rate you get, which is going to be weird. I think probably we want this on process then. Well, we'll figure that out when we do it because we'll have to test it. Anyways, so I brought over this code from Unity, which is why there's all these questions in here. It works, but it doesn't work very well. So anyways, every frame, it adds in a tick. So that's what this multiplier is. And one of the issues we ran into a long time ago is that we couldn't use minutes because the minutes, at the beginning, it seemed like the minutes were working, but it was counting the minutes too fast. So it would sometimes skip some of the minutes because it would be going too fast. So what would happen originally, we had it like the first minute it did something, the second minute it did something, the third minute, and you had a lot of minutes that you could use to break up things, but that was too fast. So since that was too fast, it would skip minutes, and so then I moved it to hours. And now, because of the thing that happened that I used breakpoints to figure out for the first time, we would have to move that. So then we'd have to use first hour, second hour, third hour, fourth hour, fifth hour, and then it just keeps expanding. And so we need to add in the tick system so that we can go back and we can break those hours. And I'm going to use quarter hours, I think. Casper, how's it going? So this has things that we're going to have to modify, but we're going to do it in this new project and we're going to test it all out. And then once it's tested out, we're going to move everything over. It's going to be a catastrophe, but we're going to do it first here to make sure everything works. So the first thing we need to do here, I just made a basic project and added a script so that I could start a new project in Writer. So just a main script. That's what I called it now. We'll probably rename it. But first thing we're going to need, of course, is an HBox because you can't live without an HBox. Actually, we're going to need a control. Does an HBox have a control built in? It does. So let's do this. Let's expand this thing across the top. But then let's add in some labels. Aren't we a bunch of nerds? Speaking of nerds, and we'll just put, what is this, days? And we got to do something differently here, but we'll add this in. We need another label that's going to be hours. And then we need another label that's going to be minutes. We're going to do this very half-assed. Not with that. And then we're going to need this to actually not do what it's doing. We need to put in probably a control for it to sit inside of. We could do a player UI canvas too if we want. I always call it player, but it's just a UI canvas. This thing we will expand to the full thing here, which is not working, but we will just manually do it. We don't give a shit about a lot of things. Lord Mac, you're too lame to be. Goobers are good as well, you know. 1920 by 1080. We're just going to set this thing. And we're going to actually need to... You know what? We don't need to set it that big. And it seems like that shouldn't matter. But we'll set it to this. Because it does matter. And because I can't remember anything, I'm going to take a screenshot of this. I would like to be able to do negative time. I was actually thinking about, Joker has a tutorial how to do, I called it negative time, but reverse time, how to reverse time in your games. We don't actually need that, but I was thinking it would be kind of fun to fuck around with it. So yes, time travel. Then we need this to actually fill. Do we want this to fill? No, we want it at the top like this. So then that's fixed. Like I said, we don't really need this to, we just need to be able to see what we're doing. And then we're also going to need 2 more nodes here, node 2Ds, because the other issue we're going to run into is how is this going to affect unit movement? And that's going to be the big thing that I think that is going to be kind of a struggle here. Is because they're going to be moving on the ticks, not engine time. And we need them to move on the ticks because if you speed up the time, they need to be able to be adjusted. We're not fucking with the engine time anymore. Uh, uh, maybe, hopefully, we're gonna make 2 of these things, and so then we'll label these, I suppose. Day, hour, and so minutes we're gonna do quarter of an hour, and then we're also gonna have to find out how or figure out a sort of so up to this point, the time in the original game has been kind of like just a guess, but the thing that I'm worried about with the guess is I played a game the other day and I was trying to remember what game this was, but and I play strategy games extremely slow. Like I like to contemplate every little thing, micromanage. I like to like sit and look at my guys and examine them and make sure everything's working. And I had it running, whatever game this was, I had it running at the fastest speed and was like waiting for shit to happen. And that was driving me crazy because generally that is not generally I'm never running games at the fastest speed. And I was worried that in my game, people would run it at the fastest speed and be twiddling their thumbs, which is not. So we might have to do it at times 16, but then we're going to have to test that. We're going to also need some buttons for the time increasing at some point. But I wanted this to be larger. So let's do that. Yeah, so using breakpoints, actually using the whole system, the whole debugging system was very nice. I was very pleased with how it worked out. It's got a learning curve, but you know, that's expected. What am I looking for here? I'm looking for this. We want you to expand. We want you to expand. And then we want you, and I think you can change things, like you can select them all and do this. So I guess I could just, sometimes it works, sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. So I just wanted this bigger. You know what we also could do is make like the font gigantic. Like make it 24. There we go. Because this is what we're going to be testing mostly. We are going to need some buttons though, so we might as well throw them in there. We'll put a V box, a V box, and then we'll do an H box, another H box. We could actually duplicate this one, and then we'll put this up here, and then we'll put you in here, and we'll put you in here, and this will be what the fuck is that? No, that's exactly what we want, except it's busted because this V box is too small. V box, we can expand across the top, and then we can go, this is going to be our time, and then this will be our buttons. I guess they aren't going to be labels though, so that was kind of a waste of time. Buttons. Joker does have a lot of tutorials. He has a lot of tutorials. These are all going to be buttons, so we're going to add button. And we can just get rid of these because I fucked it up. And we'll just duplicate. What do we need? A bazillion of these things? 4, 0, 1, 2, 4, 8, possibly 16. And we probably need a label in here actually to show what speed we're at. This shouldn't, current speed. This shouldn't be that terrible. X0, X1, X2, X4. Like when I say that terrible, I mean of how much effort this is going to be to make. I say that now, and every time I say that, it turns into an actual catastrophe. Yeah, zero's pause. And then we should probably rename these so we don't get confused later. And these actually should be lowercase x's. Jesus Christ. What the fuck? X. And see, I can't even follow my own rules here for 2 seconds. And let's get rid of this button thing in the background because it drives me nuts. And this doesn't like we don't need to be so how I'm usually very anal about everything. We don't care about this that much. It's actually I always say like, hey, critter raccoon. um, I always say that my other game that I work on offline, everything just works. Part of it, I think, what I typed X8 twice. Part of it, I think, is because um, I don't. So when I'm working on 2D 4X, like if I run into something that it's like, oh, this needs a confirmation panel, I like take the time to make the confirmation panel. On my other game, I don't give a fuck. I just go, and so I think that's part of the reason why it feels to me like in my other game everything just works. We're gonna fix all this stuff though, and I wouldn't fix this in my other game. I wouldn't fix these lowercase. I would just go and be like, I'll deal with it later. And I always do that, the KISS thing, keep it simple, stupid. So whenever I'm running and I'm trying to do something that's well, that's true too. There is a lot less there. And yes, we are going to become a Time Lord. Have I already told you my Doctor Who story? I think I already have, but all right, then let's do this thing that we just did a second ago. Let's do this. It's not a very exciting Doctor Who story, but okay. So we got these giant buttons. We got the current speed. We got days, hours, minutes. So this is everything we're going to need for our test here. We could make this in the center of the screen, but we're actually going to use these two nodes for something. We're going to test our like player movement or whatever. This one actually should be over here. Not player movement, hero movement. Where are you at? Man, I was trying to move one of these around in my other game, and there's a stack of like 50 up in this corner. And I was like, there's got to be a way to select through these things. I don't know if it was bugged or what the fuck was going on, but I could not select these other things like control click or shift click or alt click. Yeah, I got two of them selected now. Not what I wanted. All right, so we are going to use these later for moving around. We'll like put, we'll put like this thing. I guess I can't just drag that in there. I got to put a sprite or some shit in there because we're gonna move. That's gonna be the thing with the tick system. We're gonna have to figure. Whoops. We're gonna have to figure out how that's gonna affect movement because we want movement to be smooth. We don't want it to be like stuttering around the map. We actually might need like 3 of these. No, it doesn't matter. All right, we're done with this thing. So then we're going to need to put some, and I'm going to keep an eye out for that. I want to see if this bug starts appearing because we haven't done anything, and I'm going to drag and drop some stuff. This time I'm going to pay attention, though, to what we're doing. We're going to need a bunch of exported labels here. We're not going to, because I want to see if that bug appears. We're going to drag and drop a bunch of shit. So we're going to need label, day label, hour label. Come on. Yeah, that's exactly. Seconds. No, we're not using seconds. Then we're going to need a label that is for current time setting. Sure, time scale. We'll say call it time scale. Then we're going to need a button. Private button. And this is going to be X0 button. You're getting it, not a 3 though. And I mean, this is close enough. 8, 16. It kind of weirds me out that you can put numbers in variable names. I don't know why. And then we wait. What are you doing? And then we're going to drag all this crap over. Once again, we're doing the dragging thing because I want to see. I didn't label this correctly. Time scale label. X1. All right. Let's build this because I'm curious. All right. There we go. So now we have our thing where we can look at how this is going to work. These are just going to be numbers when we run this. So whatever. We don't care. First thing we're going to need ready. No, I don't think we do. Not yet, at least. We're going to need the process thing. So I wonder which one we're going to want to use. Do we have to do... public override. It is a public override. So let's ask some questions. I'm going to kind of ask a bunch of questions and I'm going to use ChatGPT. Claude doesn't give you enough questions. You get like 3 fucking questions. If I am doing a tick system, oh well, I think Joker said that Critter Raccoon is using a tick system. Do you do it in yours? Do you do it in physics process or in just process? In my 2D 4X game, should I put the just process, because you don't want it to be tied to the frames, right? To like frame fuck ups. It in process or physics process. And both if it, well, I'm going to use the tick system for movement to a point. Obviously, it's got to use the engine as well. Process. I should probably just tell this stupid thing. I am using Godot 4.4.1.net. Let's see what this thing says. I don't always agree with this thing. Get physics tick per second? No. What is it talking about? Why not process or physics process? Yeah. Not deterministic. Yeah. So that's what I'm going to move to. That's what I'm moving to right here is exactly what you said. Very concisely, by the way, which is good. So what is this thing saying? Use a timer node. No, I'm not going to use a timer node. Using a accumulator. So this has probably been wrong then. This thing has probably should have been in process. See, this is, once again, I moved this from Unity. So it was just, I just was making it work back then. Option 2. Then this is what we're going to do, actually. This is exactly what we're going to do. In fact, I could just copy this code. This is yep, if it's greater than this whatever. So this thing is going to add the delta. So I'm going to, hey, we can use the fucking breakpoints and stuff. I'm so excited about it. Because, you know, it was kind of fun being like, oh, shit, I could have been doing... And it was fun, but also, you know, it seems like I'm all over the place here, but I'm not. Follow along here. I watched a video a long time ago, which I mentioned, where the guy said that he felt like a Neanderthal because he was using GD prints everywhere, or whatever his equivalent was. And I totally felt that way when I used my breakpoint. I was like, oh my God, I could have just been hovering over this and it would have shown me the variable the whole time. So we'll do that because it'll be fun and I'll learn more too. But yes, this is exactly what we're going to do. So we're going to put this in process. See, I had notes, right? That counts for something. All right, get out of here, physics. And then we're going to save this thing. What's your problem? Oh, you need a thing. And then we're going to, oh, I hear that weird staticky thing. Occasionally my headset gets like a rattle to it, and it kind of drives me nuts. So you were saying you're going to sell your game, right, Critter? When is the release date? All right, we don't need this, though I do want to build this and see if we start getting these weird errors. So let's just copy this code over. I mean, why reinvent the wheel here? This we don't get it. Come on. What do we got going here? Bunches of extra things. This we need. What do we got? We got problems. Whoops, now I'm hitting the wrong controls. Oh, do you have other games out? This needs to be up here. And we're not going to actually put this like this because this, I don't like it. We're going to call it something. I'm going to call it a ticker. I don't know. And then we're just going to put this stuff in there. And then do tick. We're going to do, remember, quarter hours. Because I think this is the problem. We need more. Because I don't want it to be, I don't want to use hour 1, hour 2, hour 3. Because if we put it, when we're done putting everything in there, we're going to have the whole day is going to be using stuff. Persistent Universe RTS. Nice. What RTS games are you inspired by? We need to pass in Delta, though. Why is it a double? Making my life difficult. There we go. If tick or timer is greater than tick intervals, let's comment this out. And let's actually put I'm curious what this is going to be. So we're going to actually have fun with this shit. AI War is a great game. No main scene defined in the project. That's because I've never ran it. There we go. The X universe games, are you talking about like X 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? What are we on? 4? This looks beautiful. Okay, so what is this thing? See how awesome this is? What the fuck is this? No, I know what it is. We don't care about it though. So we can just hover it over. See, before I was doing like GD prints and stuff. It's telling us what the delta is. It's 0.13. See? X3, I played X2 ages and ages ago, and then I've played tons of X4. X4 is incredibly jank. Even with all of their years of updates, I got extremely frustrated with X4 at the beginning. I think it's a great game, but at the beginning when I first started playing it, I was so frustrated. Because like you would bump into a space station and then fall inside of it. It's just fucking. Okay, so we got this number here. I was just curious what this number would be, and also curious that that we would have things happen. So, according to what I read, what you do. Yeah. So what did they have one? We could start with one. We're going to have to mess with the time scale. That's back to that other thing I was talking about earlier, where we're going to, so since we have a real life map and real world map, we can kind of measure and then see like how long it would take. You know, we can look on Google Maps and say how long does it take to ride a bicycle from Portland to whatever, Tillamook, and then we can use that time, that amount of time, and then convert that in game. So we set 1 to be the correct amount of time, but then we need to make sure that when we multiply the time, it's not too slow or too fast, I guess. Um, so times 1 is not going to be, we're not going to be sitting here, times 1 is not going to be an actual real time, like minute for minute move. It's going to be like 10 times faster or something like that. And it would be nice if we could keep it at like 10 times faster. That would be amazing if we could keep it at 10 times. Because then we have a number that's easy to remember. So this is set for 1 second. So we'll start with that. But we want to do it well, the fear I have is that, like I was saying, that people are going to be sitting around waiting for shit to happen. So that's why I added X16 on here for this one. In the real game, it only has times 8. But I have a feeling we're going to want to go to 16. And then the reason why I want to test 16 is if we add 16, we want to make sure we're not missing numbers like we were in the other thing. So this is going to start with quarter hours. So this is the tick timer. It starts at 0. This gets added on that 0.1333 thing. And then when it gets to 1, it subtracts itself? Okay, no, that makes sense. But we don't want it to do that. We want it, I think we're going to want to do the 0.2 or something. Well, there's going to be proper math eventually, but we want to test it. We want to be able to test it all out. Unless I'm misunderstanding what you're saying. So this, what we're going to want to do, because we're going to want to do it in, like I said, I don't want to do it in like, so when it hits 4, like 1, 2, 3, 4, I actually want it to say 15, 30, 45, and 60. Because I think that will be easier for my brain in like a year when I go, what the fuck is this? So this is just going to do 1 tick. So I guess we could. So each tick is going to be a quarter hour, and this is going to set back. And so quarter hour per second. I think this is going to be too slow. So then this tick, once it says do tick here, we're going to, basically we can copy over this other crap and then adjust it because I'm lazy. We called it timekeeper, which makes sense. Yeah, that's what I was talking about, using an actual map, Google Map. So because we're lucky that, well, I guess not lucky, maybe it's the opposite of lucky, but because we have Google Maps, we can take an actual 2 points in real life and see how long it takes to like ride a bicycle there, because that is going to be one mode of transportation. Whatever, walk there, and then use the walking speed between the two city centers, and we can say, okay, it takes 7 hours, and then we can do the math backwards, to get an actual how much time, and actually it is in the actual game. The time that the guy is moving is calculated off that. So what we'll do here, I mean, yeah, I just used the Google. You can just tell it to show you the walking speed, how long it would take to walk there. Yeah, of course, it's using the path that it's picked, and it might not be the best path because of infrastructure. So what the fuck is this thing? This is not what we need. We don't need. Well, actually, I guess we are gonna have to write this from scratch. This is just going to be. We need to put in. What is this? An int. I feel like an int. No, an int's fine. What is this thing? We're converting a float. It won't tell me what this is. Yeah, see, we got a lot of stuff going on. And this is what I want to change. See how these hours are, it spreads it out too much, which is why I want the quarter hours. Because they're not going in a straight line from city center to city center. I mean, on the map they are, but they're not in reality. This is a float. I don't think we need a float. I think we can do it with an int. We'll see. We'll see. And you're just upset because we're trying to convert this, but we don't need this. So this is just going to be plus equals 15. What is your problem? Cannot resolve. I mean, I guess I don't think I need it out of here. What is this unhappy about? What is it? Suggestion? What's going on? You guys can't see, but I'm pushing keys. What? Now it's fine with it? All right. So it was the plus equals that it didn't like. Okay. So we'll just do this then. It's when I did the plus equals because it's not initialized. Okay. All right. We'll do int hours, except I need a thing. And why did you change that to a capital H? Because I have a capital H down there. And then we're going to need int days, and we'll fix this in a second. And then we'll go minutes. These need to be outside this, though, because they're going to be affected by every time this runs. We don't want new ones. So then we'll do minutes plus equals 15. And what is this forever timer? Oh yeah, so I was thinking about keeping a forever timer for stuff in the other game, but I don't think we actually need it, and that's why that was commented out. If minutes is greater than or equal to 60, I like this note. Sorry. I don't know why I put that in there. Hours plus 1. If hours, and then we just got to fix these. I guess I could have done a control R here. Is that what I called that thing? It is. And look how I did this format thing. We're not going to use this format thing. We're actually just going to fill in the thing here. So then we'll get rid of this, and we'll go populate labels. And then we'll put all these labels in here. Hour, we need minutes. Yeah, minutes, label, text equals minutes. And what did I call it? Minutes, hours, days. I guess either, whatever, it doesn't matter. Equals minutes. To string. My fucking music stopped. Why? All right. Hours. Yep. You aren't gonna. Thank you. So then, I'm still keeping an eye out down here to see if these appear. Oh, I should have played it from here. Oh well. We have a bug. Oh look, we lost all of these because I renamed them. Me and my renaming everything. See, if I had used get child, it wouldn't have been a problem, right? This is really ugly without the things. This is fucking slow as shit too. I mean, we're almost at like seconds to minutes here. This is gonna be slow with this speed. This is at 1 second, but we could change this up here. We can't use 0.2. The problem, I mean, we could use 0.2, but it's gonna happen. What happens if we go 0.5? We don't need this 0. Wait, half a second. Whoops. If real walking takes 8 hours and you want it to take 10 seconds in game, then real-time ratio. Now you have line 4:1. I hope I can. We can look. Google Maps. And then we get directions from Portland. I need a name of, well, Portland to Cowlitz. There's the car one. It'd take 22 hours to get from here to here. Where the fuck is that? Is this, what is, yeah, Cowlitz County. That's what we want. That's a real place. It'd make that shit up. Yeah, but so we're gonna do that, but I want to like see. I want to use my eyes. So I've mentioned this before 100 times. I worked at Kinko's, which I don't think you guys have in Europe, but it's a copy place. Copy, not a coffee place. And people would often come in with their graphic design projects, and it was not our jobs to do this, but we would often have to do minor edits on their graphic design stuff to make it look better, because we would print it out and it would look like shit. And they would be like, oh, well, because a lot of them were home graphic designers, like they thought they were going to start a graphic design business. It was bonkers shit. They just thought they could start a graphic design business out of the blue, and they would make lots of money, but they actually didn't know what they were doing because they had never used a computer before. But so it was very strange. But anyway, so we'd fix a few things so that it would look less like shit. And one of the things I learned from that is don't use math. And I know what you're thinking, like, what? So if you put in like a grid on a graphic design page like Photoshop or InDesign or what is the vector one that I can't think of right now? Whatever the vector one is. So basically, you can put on the grid and you put it, let's say you want to trifold something. So I got a piece of paper here, and you want it to trifold like this, right? It's pretty obviously, this is my house insurance. They're charging me $1 bazillion. So you want it to trifold like this, right? And you put in the math, and you tell it to do it the way the math is with the correct borders and all that shit. You print it out. It looks perfect to the math. To the human eye, it looks off a lot of times. And I'm not talking about if it's actually off. I'm talking about if you do it right with the grid and all that stuff, and you print it correctly, and there's like edge things. And it's right, but the person isn't going to like it. So what you do is you eyeball everything. And then I know what you're thinking. You're like, what? So you just eyeball everything. And so that's what we're going with here, is we're going to eyeball everything. Because sometimes you got to lie to the human brain. So the human brain would see stuff that's off that's not off. So you would just be like, and this would happen all the time in graphic design. You would have something perfectly centered, and it would just look off because of how, whatever the font that they picked or whatever. So you would just move it. And so like a little bit off. And I know you're thinking, no, you don't do that. But no, it is. And I'm sure that real graphic designers would back me up on this. They'd be like, yeah, it's a crazy phenomenon. So that's what we're going to do here. We're going to use the math to get a base of what exactly close to what we want. But then we're gonna use it. We're gonna run the game and be like, okay, this is too fast or too slow, if that makes sense. We're gonna kind of adjust it. It's the same thing as like when they have video games where they trick the player into thinking that they're using real two-hit percentages, but they're actually cheating in the background. There's a whole like thing in video games that like how to make the player feel better, because people make up these crazy things. I played D&D online with some people for a while, and one guy was constantly saying that the random rolls were cheating, like the online random rolls, you know. Let's throw some other labels on here. This is too ugly for me, even though I don't really care that much. It's too much. It's too much. We could just duplicate these, I suppose. Make life easier. This will be like day label, except these are all different now. Would I do 24? I think I did 24 and expand 24 and expand, and then we're gonna go. This is going to say days. This is going to be some number 00. This is going to be hours. You know what I should have done? Nah, it doesn't matter. Is I should have just put the fucking hour numbers in there. Yeah, I want to see how it rolls first, and then do the math. So I basically. I want to compare what the real math is versus and then adjust to kind of like get a feel. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, we definitely don't want to do any guessing. We don't want to guess like, this is good enough. No, I'm 100% with you there. Do them at a scaling health bar so you look close to death when you actually have 20% or something. Oh, really? Oh, that's awesome. I read that or I saw a video, what's that, Factoro? It has a thing where your fall damage has a limit it can give you, because the player would be bummed if they died all the time, you know? So it actually limits the fall damage. And then we'll do like that, and then we'll move this down to here. Yeah, I could have just, and then we'll do 0, 0 in here. That looks good. Let's just run this and make sure it works. It is, especially in video games. You wouldn't think that it wouldn't, but yeah, this is slow as shit. But that works how I want it. So what the reason why I wanted to use quarter hours instead of actual minutes is because we are going to run this really fast. But the other reason is, so now that gives us 4 things that can happen per hour. So we can fire 4 events per hour. I mean, this is too slow. I was going to say this isn't that bad, and I slowed it, or I sped it up. I doubled it. Because we don't want it every second either, because otherwise you would notice. Oh, really? Okay, so we have our base rate here. I guess let's connect these buttons. I was in deep thought there. If we're going to have to actually print out the minutes to the console. Because we got to make sure it's not skipping any minutes. Yeah, I guess let's connect the buttons. So we do need ready. Public override. Whoops. Connect buttons. Oh, come on, fingers. And then we'll do, here, just get out of here. I couldn't remember what I named them. I'm a big fan of very loud music generally, unless it's early in the morning. I noticed early in the morning I can listen to the same type of music, but it's we're gonna have to figure out how the whatchamacallit pausing works too. We'll have to put like we'll do it right now. We'll have to put a so I like what Mongolo was saying about, I guess on pressed is fine, and where he had like a win word. Time delta by the multiplier. Yeah, so that's what I was saying. Like, it'd have an if pause is true or something. It would just add 0 or nothing. Yeah, it would just do nothing. It would skip it because then we would have no ticks. We could actually put it right here. Why are you doing this to me? Yeah, so I like the idea of the win thing. Why are you not filling this in for me here, buddy? You liked it once. Oh my god. Create local variable. What are these other? Huh. Create other. How about just a method? Thank you. And then we'll just get lazy. I thought it was going to auto-populate for me. But it did not. 2, 4, 8, 16. Do I have like fucking insert press it or something? Something weird's going on here. 2, 4, 8. You know what we did last time is instead of having this, we just passed in, and we'll do the same thing. What the fuck am I doing? We'll just pass in the number. This will all be. We'll just call this thing. So I still like the idea of having a word that all of them. Yeah, exactly, Critter. That's exactly what I was just. We don't even need to do this. We can just have a win. He was using win. I don't know if I like the word win though. And then we can put in whatever 0 and then get rid of these ones. We only have one, luckily. Let's put time change button pressed. Are you going to do it for me? Thank you. Yeah, exactly. And then we'll go. Actually, it's probably just going to be faster to change the button thing. One more, I think. 1, 2, 4, 8, 16. We got too many. We had too many. And we got all sorts of stuff here. Get out of here. As long as these... No, not 18. As long as these are correct, it's linked to the right button. So actually, we couldn't put it here then. We would want to put it in here. No, not there. We would want it in do tick. So this... No, we can't do it here because this would multiply the... We need to hit the numbers. So do tick, we would have to do it... We're going to have to... No, that's not going to work either. Because we can just adjust a variable here. Because we only got 5. Yeah, this isn't going to work either because it's going to be over. So it won't matter. Like 16 is going to be too fast. So, you know, it's going 0.1333. Multiplier. Well, I'm going to put that in this. So yeah, that's what I'm going to put in here, but I'm trying to see where we can multiply it at. Because that's going to be too fast. So this is going to adjust the multiplier by the ends. The multiplier will be equals the ends or whatever. But where can we multiply it at? We can't do it here. Um, 16 would make this always above this. Line 53. No, you can't do it there. It's too fast. 16 would make it too fast. And make it a while. Oh, so do you like while this is less than... So imagine, so we only have 0.5 to deal with, and we get a 0.133 with every tick. So you only have a 5. It's too fast. Well, let's see what happens. We'll need a thing up here. Multiplier. We need some privates here. Why a while? Why a while? Multiplier. Multiplier. You're not going to tell me what fix. What's multiplier? Multiplier. Now it's making it worse. Multiplier. You typed in a word. You typed in the word. Because I like the word. No, I don't want a fucking underscore. Underscores can go fuck themselves. What do you want now? Yes. Okay. All right. Multiplier equals int. And then, yeah, I'm pretty sure this is going to be too fast. Times. So what's going to happen when we hit 16? I changed writer's things to not tell me to use. So it starts out at 0. So let's do 1. Yeah, we're going to need to put a thing that prints the minutes. So 2 should work. 4 is working. Now this is where I think it's going to break. Yeah, that's too slow too. We need to do a thing that prints out the minutes. GD print minutes. Perfect. Yeah, I told Ryder because I hate underscores. I don't like them at all. I do kind of like that this starts paused, honestly. It was an accident. See, we're all good there. I don't see any missing numbers there. That looks good there. This is when my fears start. So we're going to already pause it. No, we're still good. Okay, so I guess I was wrong. So why was I wrong? Because I had, you know, we could do. So I don't. Yeah, let's do this. Why was I wrong? So I know, right? Right, Joker? I was under the impression this would multiply that number by 16. Right? I need to put this on later. Because it's always going to be, let me undo it so that I can look at this. So if we go to 16, oh, it was 0.01. I thought it was 0.1, and I was like, that's not going to work. Okay, so that, yes, 0.01. All right, so that's why I was wrong. All right, I was worried over nothing. We can stop this. Yeah, I was like, that's not going to be enough time. All right, we can turn this off. So why while? If, like, what does it matter? I'm going to ask ChatGPT. I know, I was just not doing, I wasn't even trying to do the math in my head. I thought I looked at it earlier. Let's lie to it. Let's give it a leading question. No, let's say, could you use while? Yeah, so 0.2 would be a better number. I totally was, I don't know, I didn't even think about it. If you want to catch up on multiple ticks per frame, if the game lags and delta is large. It keeps ticks consistent even if delta spikes. It's safe because it'll never run an infinite loop. Avoid using unless it's yeah. I try to avoid while. I don't like them. I don't like it. It's every time I have an issue, it's a while statement. I fear them. Oh, look. While this is greater than that, it doesn't make any sense to why you would change this, even after looking at that. Well, let's see what it does. So we could go down to 0.2. I mean, it works. Get out of here. We're not missing any numbers. The reason I'm aggressively checking that is because we had an issue where we were losing numbers. That's kind of one of the things here. All right, so let's speed this up though, and then let's do the math and see what it should be. Of what we actually want, we're gonna need to put the guy moving in too. So let's go to 0.2. And see. So that speed actually isn't that bad for. No, that's pretty bad. That's too slow. Even at twice the speed, which would be 0.1, it's still too slow. I think it's more like ×4 for the one, and then we're practically doing every tick is every frame. I mean, it'd be 0.05. Then we're back to the problem of multiplication issues when we go faster. So that's going to be a thing. Let's see. So let's look at something here. Look at the real game, and this is the one problem. Oh shit, an hour's already passed. This is a problem with not doing it in the real game, is to compare the speed, because the speed is actually okay at this here. There, those beloved airs, which I'm not getting in the new one. It's probably the dictionary things I dragged over, which I can actually fix. So if we put this guy in, here's Cowlitz City Center, except that this doesn't look exactly where that thing was. So at one speed is pretty slow. This is bullshit. These numbers are. Meaning it's showing them on the label, but it doesn't actually do anything with them. They're bullshit numbers just for the player. What's wrong with scenes? You know what we could do? I wonder if this is going to fuck shit up. I don't think I've ever ran 2 games at once. It seems to be okay. What speed do I have this on? This is on 1. Yeah, I think we're going to be closer to 4. Yeah. Because this speed is actually okay. I probably want it even to go. So this on 1. I'd probably want it to go even. Man, yeah, this is kind of slow. Except like when you, like some people like me, or I forgot I did that. I was like, that's nice. That thing just go underneath this button? No. Okay. Wait. All right. See, this is the problem with fucking with time is it never like we could put a half speed in. That could solve a problem if so it's like there's a point where like you don't know what the players are going to want to do. We could put a half speed in because we couldn't really do it. Well, we could with the time engine thing, but it didn't. It fucked everything else up. You know what this is also going to solve, by the way, when we do this? It's going to solve these arrow issues. Because when we put it on ×8, it's changing the engine time, and it makes these arrows extremely touchy. So this is going to fix a bunch of things. I'm going to go have a smoke. That's what I'm going to do. What is the scene that it's supposed to be? Just .scn or something? What's wrong with the scene thing? Yeah, I think that's gonna be the deal. I remember me and you, Joker, talking about scenes and resources having a different extension you could use. But yeah, I'm gonna go take a quick break, and I will be back in less than 5 minutes. Let me stop my music that you guys can't hear. All right. Let me turn on my break timer. And we got to decide. I didn't think about this at all when I was out smoking. I was thinking about something else. We got to decide on what speed we really want it to be. Because it needs to be faster. We can put in a half speed, I suppose. This will have to be a float then. I want to look at this one more time. The big problem is how much time you want to wait for stuff. And I'm thinking about like Victoria 3, Stellaris. Stellaris is a game where I run at the fastest speed. I pause it all the time. So let's see this guy move. Somebody move here. And remember, there's going to be pathfinding where it goes between each. He wouldn't go straight there, but even so, that's pretty fast. And if we did 16, and this was like times 4, we were comparing this. We could get not 10, we can get like 8 of them out of there. Yeah, it's too. So if it takes a day to get to Cowlitz, that's kind of a long way, because that's a short distance too. That's pretty short. You know, in the IT industry, most people use Macs as well because it has built-in better console stuff, networking stuff you can do. I mean, Windows does too, but it's not Linux. It's not Unix. This is at 8. See, I knew this was going to be a problem deciding on how fast we want to run the game. And that's like kind of the deal. Yeah, so 1 is a little bit faster than this. Almost double the speed. Let's do this. Let's set 1. So this is 1. Let's set 1 at 0.1. But once again, we're almost to the same number of a tick is a frame, you know, and we don't want to do that. Because it kind of defeats the whole purpose. I'm just staring at these numbers. Yeah, I think we are going to have 16 in there too. Yeah, and 16 is pretty fast. So let's say it takes 2 weeks to build a basic thing. Let's restart this. Let's say it takes 2 weeks to build like a primitive, whatever, fisher shed. and we run it at 16, that means they're going to be sitting here on their ass for this amount of time until like it's day 14. It's kind of a long time. And then let's say someone has a kid and it takes them 18. Oh, look at this. We can go above 30 days. It takes them 18 years to get here. 18 times 365. We only need to get to 6,500 days, which is going to take an eternity. So kids are not going to ever grow up. They're just going to be I'm sure some crazy person will play the game that long. So they'll just be a drain on society forever. And are we still getting all of our numbers? We are. And so this is at 0.1. This is at 16. Yeah, I think we'll have to put a half speed in. Because 1 is pretty slow. But I can see people wanting to move it slower. So we'll have to put a half speed in. We'll have to put a 16 in. And we're not losing any numbers, so we're actually okay. That's weird. Because we're not missing any minutes. All right, so we've made our decision. So let's go back to our prototype here, and then we got to figure out, yeah, we're going to do 0.1. And we'll need another button in here for our testing. Let's go back to here. We can close this up. We don't need this running and screwing shit up. Good thing that I named them both main. Okay, 2D4X. And we'll add a new button in here. Just duplicate this guy. 0.5 speed. And we'll go 0.5 speed. 0.5. And I guess we can have a point in here. Good God, we're not gonna have underscore. Man, I despise underscores. I still don't know why I despise them so much, but Jesus Christ, they're the worst. Then we'll go. We need a new button up here. Still not getting any of those errors. So the normal dragging of stuff doesn't seem to be a problem. And it's just whatchamacallit, dictionaries and stuff. Time change. And I think this is asking for an int. Whoops. But we don't want an int anymore. We want a float. And then, we got to put an F at the end of U. And then let's test this. We always got to test everything. You know, I thought about the unit test that I watched you make the other day. There's some stuff I was thinking it would be extremely useful for. There's other stuff that, what is going on here? I was trying to like wrap my head around how to do the unit tests. Like it's gonna be kind of fun figuring out that stuff. Like that's the stuff that I find enjoyable with programming, is figuring out like how to do that stuff. I don't enjoy like adding these buttons. If that makes sense. Like the buttons is like doing dumb UI stuff is not, in connecting them and the tedious stuff. All right, so I think this worked fine. Oh, I never set up the current speed. We should have set up the current speed. Let's do that because it's not that big of a deal. Um, current time speed text. Yep, exactly. What's your fucking problem? Use invariant culture. What? Culture? What? What is that? Use current culture. What is this? Provides information about a specific culture called a locale for unmanaged code development. The information includes the name for the culture, the rights, the calendar. What? Well, no. Get out of here. We don't give a shit about that. Why do you suddenly care about that? We're winging it here. Oh, we're missing a thing. Is that why you're upset? No? That's a strange suddenly... Is it have something to do with this? It's just a number, man. It's just a number. It's just a number. There we go. I just want to be able to make sure that we can look at this. See, this looks crazy, but that is actually okay. We just want him to know that minutes are passing, as long as we're not losing any minutes, which we're not. All right, so that's the first step. We've got the first step now. Now we have to rewrite how these little tokens, which I already closed at move. Really, I've never even heard of that before. But I mean, that's not a surprise. Let's add a let's just add a node in here. No, we need it to be a node 2D. And then we'll put these as their babies. These will be babies. Whoops. And then we'll say movement node. And then we'll create a new script here. And we're not going to put it there. I really wish you could change where it defaults. Then we're going to create this. Oh. Yeah. Yeah, totally. Okay. That's probably why it did it, because of it was a point thing. Casper, no shit, man. Okay, so let's see here. First things we're going to need is those two nodes, and we're going to need the thing we're moving. So this is going to be a sprite. Is it a sprite in the main game? I assume it is. I guess we better check. Yeah, let's just open it up again. Let's see. Let's double check. Maybe we should just move it over, because then we have our exact thing that we're moving around. And because that stutter that we were getting that one time is going to be kind of a worry of mine as well. Let's see. That's under graphics. And we got our heroes, but we need it. It's under icons, maybe. So we could use this one. Wonder what I think I have it under prefabs, because that's what it was called. Yeah, we have this hero token. We could tear the script off of it if it has. Yeah, we could take the script off. But that part is a sprite, so it probably doesn't matter. So it is a sprite 2D. export sprite 2D, and we'll call this our test hero sprite. And what are we going to do with you? How was I doing movement? Because there's like 10 different ways to do movement. And I can't remember how we were doing it. And we actually tried a couple different ones. I need my token movement. I think we were doing I can't remember if we're actually I don't remember. Not move and slide. Looks like we're just moving its global position. What was the deal with move and slide? There was some issue we were having with move and slide. I can't remember what it was. And you know what? It was saying we might have to like pretend to be moving it because of the tick system. We also could wing it. No, we can't. All right. I was thinking, oh, no, we could. We could have the multiplier multiply its speed of movement. So what I mean is, like, instead of having it, yeah, that's probably, how are we doing it this way? Because we're going to have to rewrite this to whatever we decide on. But there was an issue with move and slide, but I can't remember what it was. Because it looks like we were just like straight up move token is true. Move. We're just using move towards. Yeah. I guess we'll try that. So we'll have to set a speed. Well, this is the part where we need to do the math of how fast the token moves, like the 8 miles an hour or whatever. So the problem with this is, let's see how because this code is really old. This code's like 2 years old at this point. Wonder how I'm moving my other guys around in my other thing. That is moving in a different, through hexes. I'm going to pull this other script open here. So I'm curious. Let's see, where vehicle controller maybe? Move vehicle. Let me jump to it. No? Yeah, let me jump down there. All right, it's okay. We can find it. Move hex. My foot is on this cord. Yeah, we're using move towards here as well. I guess I like move towards. What was the issue with move and slide? There was some issue with it, and I can't remember what it was. So let's try to mimic this as close as possible with this token movement then, because we are going to have to change things, but let's make it so that we don't have to change everything unless it sucks. So it seems like what we could do, this actually I don't think is going to be that, is because we can just multiply the speed of the movements. And I was thinking we were going to have to do it differently when I was thinking about this last night or the night earlier this week. So I think one of the things with this is it equals approximate, if I can speak here. that I don't see that we did maybe we did fix this. Let's look. Maybe it's just it's so close that it doesn't matter. But basically, I remember this happening a long while ago. So it would get very, very close to its destination, and that was kind of like good enough with that approximate thing. But it wasn't actually at the destination, so you'd have to tell it when it reached the destination to actually move there, and it would move an insignificant amount. The human eye couldn't tell, but it wasn't actually there. But it doesn't look like we're doing that, which is kind of surprising me. So let's go back to our... I guess maybe it fixed itself. See, look at this shit with the army. We're gonna get rid of that. We're gonna get rid of that. It's just gonna be one thing. Where did that move shit go to? It was just move, I think. Just straight up move. All right, so we'll copy this over. See, we're multiplying it here too. We'll just bring this whole thing over. And I said new window there. So what else are we going to need here? We're going to need a movement speed. So this global movement speed is how I got that. I did the math for moving the cowlets before. And that's why it has like a global, but we don't give a shit about it right now. Movement speed, and we'll just put 1 for right now, and we're going to change this to multiplying. We're going to need an instance on this thing just so that we can be lazy about it. Public static instance, right? Why can't I remember how to do this? I haven't made an instance in a very long time. This doesn't have an instance. Like static, I forgot the name of it. Yep. Main instance, and it usually tries to do the getter setter thing. Yeah. Then we'll need this here. And we go back over here. We're going to get the multiplier. So this will be movement speed. I don't remember what the move and slide issue was. Something was going on. I can't remember what it was though. And so we tried move and slide. We tried a bunch of different shit. And then we're going to go with main dot instance dot multiplier. This is private, so we can change this thing. I love that you can just do a couple clicks to fix that. You probably can do it in VS too, but then we're gonna need this sprite test sprite global position towards our target. And so we're gonna have a target here, which I already, whatever, it's actually a node 2D. Yeah, and we tried like lerp, and there's another one. I forget what it's called. We tried a bunch of shit, and it was just like kind of just out of laziness. Let's just do target. Nah, fuck it. We'll go back to this. Target node 2D. And we want a vector 2, so we can just get the global position. And this is going to be the test hero sprites globe, and when it's approximately at the target node 2D, we will just like, what do you want to, same thing? Yeah. Then we'll just GD print something here. GD print. So my favorite thing, hero has reached target destination. My favorite thing is when you hit play and the sprite goes flying off the screen. I know that means that the game's broken, but it's still my favorite thing. I don't know why I like it so much. All right, well, let's put, we need a button here. We need an additional button because why not? So Unity, I had everything working differently in Unity. And then when I moved it up over, I can't remember what the issues were. So move and slide is like a built-in thing where it's supposed to move around. And you know, maybe it had something to do with changing the time scale, like fuck shit up. But that wouldn't matter. No, it's still gonna matter. No, it's not. I don't remember what the issue was, but there was an issue with move and slide because that's like their built-in little thing, and I've had issues with it like every time I've used it. And now, what have you done? Why is this all squishified? Why are you all squishified? See, this is what happens when you... these were all on expand, but I think they got reset when I... It says that they're on expand. What about you? Oh, what about you? Are you on expand? What am I going for here? 3 changes. Transform. That's fine. Top anchor. Whenever you mess with one thing, you are on. Here we go. There we go. Then we're gonna go add just a button on this button. And then this button is actually, the problem is we actually needed a V box here. I'm just so used to putting H boxes everywhere that that's what happened. We're gonna rename this though. And then we're gonna put in this button. We're gonna say start move. We just need a test here. And I guess we can just leave this gigantic. Then I can't misclick, right? And then we're gonna go, I will do this. Like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how big this thing is. We're not doing this for looks here. Then over here, we will... I was in thought of there about putting, well, what we'll do is we'll make the button, we'll change it, we'll make the button like each time you push it eventually, it will just make it bounce back and forth. Right now we'll do one way, but then we'll do the other. Move button. And actually we're going to rename this, right? We're just going to say this move. And there. And right now it will only go one direction, but then we need a ready. It really wants to do process now that I have done it one time. And then move button. Madi, how's it going? Thank you for the follow. Pressed, we will, whoops, plus equals move. What were we doing? On button pressed move token or some shit. We don't want this last thing. I think that was what was no, maybe not. I guess it was just confused because I had started earlier. It was suggesting all sorts of weird shit for that. I don't think we need to pass in any variables. So what we will do is we'll make a bool, and then on process, now we need the physics process. Whoops, voice? What the fuck? This is gonna be if, wait, no, while, we can use a while here and see what happens. I don't understand why you do it. Why you do a while. While move is equal to true. I guess we didn't really need the equals to true there. Get out of here, equals to true. Fuck you, right? What's your problem? Don't you have to have that? For some reason, I thought it had to have that for Godot's. For Godot's shit. All right, then we need equals false here. Sounds like the wrong function. This one. Sorry, I didn't saw what you. I don't know. I guess it wasn't that. The lag between chat is sometimes quite annoying. Oh, you're right. You're right. It should have an underscore. It's weird that it didn't. So my hate of underscores is not against this. These underscores I like, actually. These ones. It's weird that it would have different options. What does this one say? It seems like that would be strange to have two that are so similarly named, but I guess that's just me, right? And it should do override, I think. I think we have to override it. It doesn't say over here. What do we got over here? Is this one overridden? Yeah. Let's do this. Private override void. You know, before I wasn't putting void. I think you know, one of the reasons why I don't like yeah, it's not suggesting that. Did I put private or public? I must have put private. Oh, and this has a float in it. All right. Get out of here. There we go. That was the reason, is because I was putting private on there. This is how often I type that shit in. Once you like do this a couple of times, you never need it ever again in your game. You know what I mean? All right. What we're going to do, we're going to test this button. And it is set there. And oh, I didn't drag it over though. We need to drag over a bunch of different things here. Target node. For some reason, I want it to go from right to left. So what? Why? We're going to go from left to right. And we might as well put the start node in here while we're here. Going around. Node 2D. And you only got one process? Yeah, like you don't use it that frequently. I remember when I first moved over from Unity, I can never remember the ready, that you had to do it. It had to be a public override. I remember Joker actually regularly be going, same thing. You got to make it public. Same exact thing. So we need this sprite, and we need this sprite to go to be somewhere. We're going to put it as a child of this thing. I don't see you anywhere, sprite, because I never gave you a texture. There we go. And then we need to reset your transform. This is too large. And I've learned the valuable lesson to never mess with these scale things. Don't ever touch them. Don't believe it what anyone says. If they ever say, touch this scale thing, they're wrong. Don't ever mess with it. Ever. This is too big, but it's fine. We'll make it smaller in a second. I actually extremely dislike using this Godot icon as part of the game as well. So we'll do 1 speed. It did it. It did the thing that I was hoping for, except it didn't fly off the screen. So what do we got wrong here? So on move, the global position should move towards the target node's global position times speed. The movement speed is 0. Oh no, I put 1 in there. Okay, I was thinking I didn't put a thing in there. So 1, how fast is 1? 1 might be too fast because that thing did teleport. And we were running at 1 speed. So speed, what does this move towards? Move this vector towards 2 by the fixed delta amount. The fixed delta amount. What did our other code look like? Move. Oh, it was already up there. Move. We're in the wrong thing. What is all? Oh, this is that list that I had there. You shouldn't. You should start your game and then stream, and we can jump in. So what did I do on this? What is the target? What is their speed? Where are we getting this speed? I just want to see what it is. Go. Can I click on this? Oh, speed's right here. So movement speed, what is our movement speed at the top, though, or on here? Is it like a point number? It's 10. So it's 10 is pretty fast. So it should be moving slowly at this with our current thing. And then we're doing the modified time scale. So this would have been a 1 in a normal thing times 10 equals speed. And then we're moving towards the global position of this is attached to the thing. And then the target is just a vector 2 that's been assigned to this. So I want to run this again and to see what it looks like. I know we just watched it teleport. Uh, the start node doesn't. Let's bring this out of here, actually. Because we want it to eventually be bouncing back and forth, and we don't want it to be a parent, or to have a parent of these. I don't think that's actually going to do anything, but... What type of game are you thinking about making, Casper? Okay, so it just teleports to the corner, which is 0, 0. So there's something going wrong, but we can use the fucking breakpoints, man, to see what is going on. Which we know that this part, we can break point right here. We gotta restart. We're gonna go bug. Sometimes people come into chat and they have very crazy ideas of what they want to make, which is funny, which is ironic because my idea is this 2D4X is definitely insane. So right here, we want to break point here, and then we want to move, and here we go. Speed is 0. See, this is so amazing. I was putting GD prints everywhere. So here we go. We got speed equals 0. The multiplier is 0. This was it. This was running. This was not running. It was paused. Because that would make it 0. And it shouldn't... Because that's 0, 0 times 1. Star Trader. I think you've definitely mentioned that before, because I remember, did I look up Star Trader? Star Trader. It's a board game, though. Board game. Is that it right there? Board game. From Steve Jackson. I have a bunch of old Steve Jackson games. All beat up in the other room. Not a bunch. A few Steve Jackson games. I said in his stream once, I said it's a bummer that Steve Jackson Games is kind of dead, and chat got very upset. And then I looked afterwards, and yeah, they're pretty much dead, man. they need to update like so much of their lives. It's kind of crazy compared to what they used to be. I mean, they still exist, but they're definitely not big hitters like they were for a brief period of time. This looks intense, dude. Like in a good way, not intense in a bad way. Yeah, this looks awesome. Now I want to play this. What does it cost? Did I see 50 pounds? Or were those, what do the English use now? Ducats? Shillings? Where was that? I saw a price somewhere. I think they use brass nickels. Something when they left the EU. $80. That's actually not bad for an ancient game, depending on the quality. Dude, look at that cover. Artificial intelligence, interstellar trade, artificial. This looks awesome. Oh, they got the little punch out stuff too. Oh man. The problem is, it takes so long to set up these games, and then you got to also find a person that wants to play with you, and that's the real challenge. It's like the game is you're like so stoked to play it, and you got to find someone who's also that stoked. It's really hard, especially when you're older. All right, so what's the problem here? We're at 0 speed, so that's a problem. We can go through with this. Were we at 0 speed when I hit play last time? We can stop you. We can restart you, I mean. I think I was. But 0 speed, it shouldn't move anywhere. We should probably make that show the current speed of 0, but... Okay, so I wasn't at 0 speed when I did it before. and I'm going to take a break here in a second. Yeah, I got a Civil War game that I've never played that from forever ago. And okay, so what do we got here? Movement speed, and speed is 1. Movement speed. What is the move towards target node's global speed? This, I know it's wrong. This is not how this works. We want, this is like backwards. We need to go over here and we can look. Oh no, maybe I'm wrong. Global, move towards target with the speed. When the global position when its global position is equal approximately here's the problem. Here we go. So according to the code, it's working correctly. Once again, one of my favorite things about programming is that when you write code, it works how it's written. So it's moving to the global position of the clock, which is up here. So that is a problem, and there it is. Let's see. We'll run this in debug, I guess, anyways. And we probably actually don't need this, but we'll leave it there just in case. And oh, I forgot to change the speed. I don't think this is gonna work because it's on whatchamacallit. Yeah, I have a Civil War game that I would want to play that no one ever wants to play, or no one's ever wanted to, in my whole life, no one's ever wanted to play. I got well, I've played it a couple times, Game of Thrones games. This is only going to go 1 frame, but we need to stop, and we need to turn this off. Game of Thrones game that I've played a couple of times that turned into a screaming match. People got very upset. It's like diplomacy. Let's see how this. So it moved there incredibly fast. And that was at 1. So this, how did this one look? I think we got the wrong thing in here. No, the target is, this is in token movement, though. No, but I love that happened. I love that, like, if you look at your code, sometimes something crazy is going on, and you look and you're like, oh, this is exactly what I wrote. I feel like this should be actually this. So the thing that's different, this is inside. So this is the global position of this token movement, which is attached to a sprite, which is kind of weird that we're doing it that way, but let's just run this again. Now I want it to default, my speed to default to 1. I'm gonna take a break in like 2 seconds here. I actually was thinking we wouldn't get to this point today, so we're already ahead of my mental schedule. Don't click that. Yeah, that was the problem. This thing is moving slow. I still like it more when it shoots across the screen and then it never stops. You know, if you have like gravity or physics turned on, it'll just. Also, when you hit play and it falls off the bottom of the screen is a thing that I like a lot. I know it's something you shouldn't like, but I do like it. I mean, we could make that happen. We could make it fall off the screen, probably, I think, with 1 click. No, I would have to put a body on it, a character body, to make it fall off the screen. But that's fun. Anyways, I'm going to take a quick break, and then we're going to, I don't know what we're going to do. We're going to make it bounce back and forth so I can test how fast it looks. Well, then we need to do the math of how fast this thing should go in real life. But let me, I don't need to stop my music because it stopped already. And I'll be back in less than 4 minutes and 30 seconds. All right, I am back. And what do we got going here? I actually did think about this for about 2 seconds while I was outside. I wish my music would stop stopping on its own. We should probably make this smaller, but we're going to do this other thing first. We're just going to have another bool just to make life easier. Just to make life easier. At target is what we'll call it. And then we'll say in here, nothing. We'll say at target equals true. And then we'll put in here, if we're just winging this, at target equals true. Get the fuck out of here. Then target, we're gonna need a vector 2 here. We're gonna need a vector 2. Get out of here, up here. Vector 2 target. And then we'll do vector target equals else target equals, no, other way around though. We're just gonna wing this shit. We don't care how good it looks. And then we're gonna go target here, and then we're gonna go target here. Whoops. I'm clicking weird shit. All right, then we'll just hit play from here. The only thing I wish it would do, and it probably does, I just don't know where it is show the list of, isn't this default to false? Do bools default to, no, they definitely default to false. Oh, except it's throwing this a bazillion times. So that's not going to work. A bazillion times. What we'll do is we just need to move this out of here. We can set target up here. A vector 2 target. Target with a T. And this can go away, except I have something on my clipboard. We're going to put this back. We want on ready, we'll set this. Like I said, we're just winging this shit. It doesn't have to work. Yeah, see, this is grayed out because it's... And then on button press, we want this move to change. But we need it to swap when it's down here. So we'll just say swap target. And then we'll do this. And we'll do this. Well, I guess I deleted it. If at target is true, then the target equals start. Because we want it to move back to the starting thing, and then else. I accidentally deleted. Yeah, Star Frontiers is another, it's not a Steve Jackson game. We have to have the move. Was that the problem? What if we just keep clicking this? Nothing. All right, we need you to speed up here, buddy. My swap isn't working. Swap target. If target is, so it should start out as false. It should change this. So this is going to be, we forgot, I took this out. And what we could do at target, what we were supposed to do is that it just swaps that. Yeah, I've played Star Frontiers. So Star Frontiers has... we need this to go faster. Here we go. All right, so now we can adjust our other thing. Star Frontiers is a TSR game. It's a role-playing game, but it also had like a board game you can get as well. And I bought the board game part when I was a kid. So think back of like original D&D time, AD&D times, and it has like weird races and stuff that you can play as in the RPG. But there's like this overwhelming evil race called the Slytherines, I think they're called. And they're like these snake creatures, but they have arms. It was early RPGs, and they're all mysterious and stuff. And you can buy this war game where you played it as like the Federation. We're gonna call them the Federation. They weren't called the Federation, but whatever. Versus the Slytherines, and they had like different ships and stuff. And it took an eternity to set up, and then you used a ruler, kind of like 40K. To like adjust the guys, and you also would use your ruler because they were those punch out little squares, and I have some upstairs still. And it was pretty awesome because you had fighters and you had different class ships. You had the destroyers and stuff. Very early war game, but I played that a bunch with my friends back in when I was 12, and it took so long, and also cheating has always been an issue. And I wish they would make one of those. So it was a lot like 40K is now. I think it was pre-40K, though, with all the measuring. Like you had to, use a ruler and a measuring tape for movement and stuff. Oh, wait, no. That has a hex map. It had a hex map. So, I mean, the cheating is you would just count. People are always cheating in all these games. Count an extra 1, 2, 7, 6, 1, 2, 3, 3, 4, 5, 6. That type of thing. Man, why do people always gotta cheat in games? All right, so this works how we want it. Oh, it broke. I wonder why it broke. Something weird happened there, because you see it started to move when I went up here. Time 1. Time 16. So this we can't, until we add it to the actual game, because we're going to need to adjust how fast it moves, depending on the math, the thing we were talking about earlier. Because this isn't to scale. So we're going to have to move this over. How much time are we? We got a lot of time, actually, 40 minutes. So I guess let's adjust the clock. Yeah, so what we're going to have to do, we put the clock in the real game, then we put the movement, and we adjust the movement. How are we going to do this? So we get the movement correct. Then we match the time to the movements. If that makes sense. So the movement, because the movement is not connected to the ticks. So how do we, or we could try to connect the movement to the ticks. Trying to think what else we're going to have to adjust. Let's see what this Claude thing was saying, because I asked Claude Did I close it? This is Chat GPT. I did. I asked it about the movement. So with when the actual unit's moving, we need to do the math to make sure it's the right speed. And then we adjust. So at 1, we wouldn't do it at 1 though, because we would have to wait an eternity for it to get there. For our test, we would do it like times 4 or something. And we would see like how long is 22 hours. And then we would make the 22 hours match in our ticks system. Doesn't necessarily mess with unit movement, but it does change how movement is handled compared to a fully continuous system. I think they wanted, interpolate movement. So that's what that thing. What the fuck is it called? Not kerning. I can't remember what it's called. Someone made a YouTube comment ages and ages ago and said I should have been using this thing. It's an animation thing where you animate basically their movement. They're not actually moving. You animate their movement. Kerning. So anyways, you animate their movement to represent. And I think that's actually what this thing says. Oh, no, it didn't say that. Yeah, units aren't literally moving each frame, but they are in a moving state with start and end position and a completion time. The visual representation shows smooth movement. Yeah, so it's, man, what is that thing called? Moving, tweening. There we go. It's called tweening. So you tween it. The problem with that, we can't use that. So we can't use the tweening because it's not actually moving. It's just the animation of it's moving. So the reason why, let's go back to the real game if we still have it running here. Tweening. So you tween between. Movement is a visual thing, but you have to scale. So also things like, yeah, but the building speed and all that, we just have a number we can adjust. So we just put in like the number of days we want. So that's easy to adjust. That's all in the thing that's probably causing part of these problems with those weird errors. So when we want to move something, remember we're going to have pathfinding it's going to be a straight line still. But it's going to, like if you wanted to move to here, it's not going to move you across this thing. You would go here first, then here. So the pathfinding is very simple, but it's still, you got to go between each capital. So if you were to click here, it's going to take the shortest route through friendly territory. And that's already written. It's just been sitting idle for a year because I don't remember why. I was going to put it in one day and I just didn't do it. So the reason why we can't use the tweening is because we want people to be able to run into each other on the way. So imagine another guy moving this direction. Once again, it would go through here, but we wanted these to interact with each other when they touch each other. So the tweening, it wouldn't actually move. And so if you think about a paradox game, pretty much any of them, except for Stellaris, CK3, Hearts of Iron, all that, they're not actually moving anywhere. They just sit and have an animation of them standing there moving. And then once their time is up, it goes blurp and they move. But they don't actually move. Like they move, they teleport there, but their animation is there. And then when they have a timer on them, and when the timer's done, it teleports them over there. It might be, there is an animation of them moving there, but it's not, the animation it's actually just teleporting them over there. So you don't run into guys in between on a move in a paradox game. So you can't encounter a person here like halfway, and we want to have them be able to encounter things halfway. That might be like a strategy that you could take into to effect. You know what I mean? Like you could be like, oh, I'm going to start this move to stop this guy back before he gets whatever. And we're going to have like a halfway point type thing. Similar to, so in Paradox games, and they didn't used to have it in the good old days, when it hits the halfway point, you can't go back. The same thing's going to happen with this, you know? So we got to do a whole, so the tweening, which is a bummer. Originally, I had a timer and all that like Paradox, but I didn't like it. And I just didn't like it. And eventually, too, I want to have like you building up on the borders. So it's like an important thing where you could fight in your territory versus on their territory with the halfway thing. We're gonna have a halfway marker. Imagine here I have this guy go back to wherever he's from. Go back there. Imagine we're attacking into here. It's, you know, there'd be a halfway. So we want to actually move the thing. So we don't want to use tweening, now that I remember what it was called. So I think we can move this over, but what else does this thing say? Some games use micro ticks for movement while using regular ticks. So this is basically what we're just gonna use the game engine, but I'm trying to think if there's any, and then we multiply it by the time thing. What else is affected by the time in this? We got a problem there. This is why I made that all capitals in that thing. We need to change the translation thing here, but that doesn't matter. Not to what we're doing right now. So like you pointed out, Casper, production of stuff, but that's all fired by the days. No hours for that. Movement. We'll have the quarter hours to break things up better. Research is also by days. It just fires at the day. Combat is done every hour, but that's off of the hours. So when hours fire, it actually checks to see if there's any combat. Let's look at the clock one more time, because the clock obviously has shit that it does. I think I closed the clock. We'll open the clock. So production isn't affected by that because it's already using hours. Everything is pretty much using hours. Even I'm in the wrong project over here. Even combat, none of them are set on the ticks. Like the ticks are just creating the clock. That's why I was kind of like apprehensive about the tick system, because it seems like it's the same thing. It is. It's basically the same thing that I already have. Except that we can, with the quarter hours, we can do it different. I needed to fix the quarter hour thing anyways, so. Scripts, clock. Yeah, so when the person first suggested the tick system, I was like, I already have a tick system, and they said they looked at my code, but they hadn't really. So it's basically the same thing, except we've added the ability to break up. We still had the minutes, but like I said, the minutes were not accurate. And now the quarter hours are, I hope. They are right now, but... so what are these doing? These are just firing those events, so that's not going to tell us much. If we go, what is it, double... end of day. And that's just us unsubscribing to that event. Looks like we're not using hour 2, which kind of surprises me. Guess not. Wonder when that happened. Wonder if that's part of the reason why we're rewriting this. Whoops. Every time. Start day. These are named strangely. And then hour 4. Yep, same old, same old. And weekly, we have this is like happens every 7 days. You know, it's not a real. I mean, that is a week, but it's not. It's just every 7 days. What do we have in here? I don't think we have much going on. There's one check, I think, on weekly. Then hourly should be. I keep having to do this. I'm not used to the new way. We have a morale check for an event. Oh, we do checks for events on every hour? Huh. I figured it was daily. But okay. Battle, hourly battle, increase in morale. So this is just unsubscribing. It does. We are modifying the time, so that is a good point. We are modifying the time scale, so we won't be doing that. We're not messing with the engine time at all. The engine time will always be 1 at this point. So yes, good point. We have made a major change, and so this will also no longer apply. So they're in this game. In this, we have things like when you click on this panel, it's set to ignore the time, the engine time. But we won't have to do that anymore because we're not messing with the engine time. We will have to, like these buttons. I think there's just a panel over this, though. An invisible panel, a blocker panel, as I call them. So you can't click on these things. And it will fix this thing where this is too. So that, yeah, we are making, so that is a good point. We are making a big change there. So now let's break everything. How much time do we got? Yeah, we have 30 minutes to break everything. That's perfect. So with the clock, remember this time isn't going to be right until we fix the correct speed that we want people to move at, and then we adjust the days to match, the hours to match the, yeah. So what we'll do with that is in this, like this example, or in our prototype here, we'll be adjusting I'm in the wrong script. We're going to be adjusting this number to match the speed of the person moving, which we'll get that speed with math. So back to the math thing. Like we'll know how long we want it to go. You know, it takes 22 hours to get that distance, you know, or time it. We'll time it too. So yeah. So let's mess with the clock there. You can stop running. And I don't think we actually need this thing up anymore. The minute I close it, of course. I literally, yesterday at work, clicked a button. I was like, I don't need this anymore. I'm going to take it off my account. Click the button of save, and someone messaged me and asked me to do something with that thing. I literally, like, it was probably 1 second difference. So that's just how life goes. That the minute you say you don't need this anymore, you're going to need it. We still need the code, but okay. So our clock looks a lot less. Let's go over to here. Let's take this. I was thinking, do we want to bring this over? But yeah, we do. Then we're going to go back to our clock here. We're going to break a bunch of shit. We need some variables. These variables probably already exist, but we'll just add them anyways. Did I cut that? No, good. And yeah, they already do. Days equals 0. It's going to be a little bit painful here. It's interesting that I put the hours and minutes in one label. Like, I'm not sure why. We'll get rid of that forever timer thing, too. We had a thing called ticks there. But I don't think we need that anymore. I wonder if we were accessing this ticks from some... Well, it's private. Get the fuck out of here. Maybe I just wanted to look at it. But that was before I knew how to do... So then we do have a getter setter for this? Or is this just a typo? That seems like a typo. That seems like a typo. And so we'll fix that. I'm going to put the minutes. I guess I did it. I probably, you know what I probably did is had another label and it looked dumb. So yeah, let's put this back. Let's leave it like this. We have the little thing somewhere in the other script. We have the little thing where right here. Wonder what it wants. Use string interpolate. Really? See, this is the wrong hour. No, hours is a capital H. So that should be a getter setter firing. Yeah, it does. All right, if it wants us to use that. So do ticks, we have populate label. We actually, so this is gonna be a little bit weird. Not really weird, we just gotta, I don't think we're gonna need this anymore. No, we do. This thing keeps track because you can open multiple multiple panels and like go back through them. And what it, if you have it set to close, it resumes time, then it resumes time when you're going back through those panels. So this has to keep track of the number of things paused. Though I think we got rid of some of that so that only one panel is open at a time. I actually can't remember. So we might be able to get rid of that too. This is for remembering the time. So this, where's our process, physics process thing? Because that's the first thing that needs to go because it was wrong in the first place. So we'll get rid of this. And the timekeeper, we will cut this and we'll put this up with our new do tick thing. And we'll get rid of that, though we could actually call this populate labels. And then we'll put this other thing in here. Make it a little bit nicer, right? Doesn't matter to me. All right, so we have our new hours. It looks like this needs to be a capital R though, because we are, or capital H, I mean, because we are. It's not going to let us while this other thing is in here. Not that. this. Let's comment out this thing. I don't want to just wholesale delete stuff because I have a feeling I'm going to need to reference something in here. You know what I mean? Like this, this is fine. We could get rid of this because we knew that we just moved this, but I have a feeling there's something weird in here. This actually doesn't look that weird. This looks like we probably could just delete that, but we're not going to. Not yet. Now we can rename this to with a capital H. Oh, I guess. Oh, it doesn't want me to do it because there's already hours. But that's what we want to check. We want to check against the capital hours, I believe, because I don't think anything. Oh, it's down at the bottom. We're going to move this hours up here, too. I don't know why it's way down here. We need to move that multiplier over. This should be up here. I like to keep the getter setters for something next to its private whatever variable. What's your fucking problem? To express. All right. Yeah, that's fine. What's your problem? Make set accessor private? Okay. Yeah, sure. I don't know. You know what I never checked today was that my YouTube stuff was working. And it is. All right. Multiplier we need to bring over. I think I'm going to rename it to time multiplier. I mean, I guess I could have just recreated it. Copy. Wrong one. We'll put it at the top. It's important. Yeah, and let's rename it to time multiplier. I gotta always be preparing for my forgetfulness. You need to be public because we're gonna be messing with something later. This is not half a second. This is where we are going to mess with the speed of the game. But to match movement speed. All right, so what else we got to fix? So this old thing, let's go back to when we push a button here. Because it's different. It's different. We got the populate, pause time. What does this thing do? So if the modified time scale is greater than 0, this is kind of annoying to write if I remember correctly. Modified time scale is something we're going to get rid of. It's also a capital, so it means it's a getter setter. What does that thing do? We'll jump to it here. Okay, so we're showing a label. I don't want to call it modified time because I was thinking we could just swap that thing, but I don't actually want to call it modified time scale. See, here's the whole engine thing that we're avoiding now, is messing with the engine time. So let's do this. Let's pull this out of here. And then we'll put this inside our getter setter that we haven't created yet, but we're about to create. Right here, we're going to have, this is actually going to be private after all, because we're going to make the getter setter public float time multiplier. Man, my fingers really don't want to do the IE in there. Then we're going to say time multiplier. And this just wants the fucking lambda or whatever. What's your problem? Your problem is that we need this to replace that. It's going to do that thing? I mean, I guess we could do that. How is it going to know what culture? How does it know? Does it look on the computer or something? This is going to be time multiplier. We don't want this anymore. We don't want that anymore. We don't want this. We don't need this anymore. I was thinking maybe we can make a getter setter to, we can add in the getter setter to adjust this thing that we have down here, but it actually doesn't matter. Wherever that thing went. Time multiplier, it was our button thing. We're going to have to adjust our buttons as well. We're going to get some bugs here when we run this the first time, but that's okay. Because that's how it works. So what we'll do, and actually we'll make these, we'll get rid of those signals as well if we haven't already. We need to move, well, not copy, not delete it. Copy this over to here. Right here, I think. This is now time multiplier. Yeah. Yeah. And then this, what were we doing here? Oh, yeah, we have a label already called something here. Current speed label. There's a button. Here it is. Current speed label. Stickle Wings, how's it going? And this is called time multiplier. And then I guess we'll do this culture thing. I don't know how it's gonna. No. Get the current info object that is culture independent. This actually isn't though. What was the other option? Contract work? What type of contract work? So I did some IT code. If you get paid up front. Or if you get paid like half up front or something. So I did some IT like help desk stuff. Oh, rate? I have no fucking idea, dude. I don't know. Have you done it before? It seems like you would know better than me on that. Probably a lot, right? $50 an hour minimum? More than that. I think more than that. $100 an hour minimum? It depends what you're doing. Like what type of code or what? No, I don't know, man. I've hired like people off of the internet. I was trying to think of what website it was. It wasn't Fiverr. It was one of those other ones, and it was definitely the you get what you pay for situation every time. The cheaper ones were, and I'm not talking cheap like as in $5 an hour. I'm talking 25 and up. I think the lowest I paid someone actually was $30 an hour, um, if I remember correctly. Yeah, it was. It was $30. I'm pretty sure it was $30 an hour, and he sucked. He did nothing, and he charged me for 11 hours. And I said, don't do more than 10 hours worth of work, and he did nothing. And so, like, he, said, like, on the first day, he's like, I did 2 hours of work today. And I was like, oh, did you push your code? And he's like, oh, I forgot. Can you pay me? And I was like, once you push your code. A POS? What do you mean? A point of sale system? But anyway, when I hired another guy to help me with the website, and he charged, I think it was $50 an hour, and he was really good until he burned out. Like, and I'm not saying because of overwork, he just didn't want it. He was wanting to go live in his van. He had van life on his head, and then he started to suck too, like badly. And we kind of had a minor falling out as well. Current culture will get settings from PC running this game. Huh. How does it know? Like, how does Godot handle? Because it's never asked me for this with any two-string before. It feels like that. So C# is somehow pulling. That seems like a, huh. So this one wouldn't matter. Yeah, so I think it wasn't Fiverr, it was another. There's a couple of different sites. No, was it Upwork? It might have been Upwork. I think it might have been Upwork actually that I used. And so another guy that I got off one of those sites. So this is the thing with all of this. All of these people that I've hired, I could tell right away that when they didn't have any questions about the code. So the code that I had was written by somebody, and it was just fucking chaos. My love of really long variable names. That's because of that code. This dude, every fucking variable name was one letter. And so you would look up here. Okay, I'm exaggerating. Some of them were 2 letters. You'd look up here and it would just be X, I, XX, whatever. And so there's no fucking way that anyone could look at the code and understand it. So you would look later and it would just be gibberish, man. It was just fucking gibberish. And so when I was hiring these other people after the original guy, if the people didn't have questions, I knew that they were bad. So if they Flabbergast, how's it going? Did I see this chat didn't work? Damn it. Stupid. It says it's connected. It says that YouTube is connected, but it's not. I'm going to do it again because I didn't see Flabbergast's thing. It says it is. It's not. It won't let me. Here, I want to put in here. It was only like 15 minutes ago, but that's a long time to wait for a reply. Let's see if this went through. Yeah, maybe I just missed it. Maybe I suck. Maybe I suck at what I do. Oh, the reason I was even looking at that was for the auto mod. Spin up a piece of shit. Anyways, what the fuck was I talking about? I was rambling. Anyway, so if they didn't have any questions, I knew that there was a problem. And this one guy did push some code, but the code was like reorganizing no variable change. It didn't go through, so I didn't just miss it. Now it's going through. Now I can see it. Sorry about that. so the guy just reorganized some code. He didn't actually change anything, and I kept saying, like, you really don't have any questions about this code, and he kept saying no, 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 and then he was billing me for hours. It wasn't that many; it was like 6 hours or something. And then I said, like, you got to push your code, dude. And then, like, I was arguing. We were getting in this argument about, like, this isn't writing code. All you've done is reorganize stuff. And then he was like, well, fuck you, I quit. And so then on his Upwork thing, I gave him a bad review and said, this dude said, fuck you, I quit, when he didn't write any code. And he came back, and I paid him for the time. He came back like a week later, and he said, please, can you please take that review off? I haven't got a single job since you put that review with 0 or 1 rating, and that I told you, fuck you, I quit. And then I felt bad for the guy, because I don't think he was a scam artist. I think when he looked at the code, once again, the original guy just had like X's and stuff. I think when he looked at it, he was like, what the fuck is this? And he should have been blasting me with questions, because I actually knew the answer to a lot of the stuff. Like, oh yeah, XX actually is this, and it just needs the variable needs to be renamed, or whatever. So then I took the review off because I felt bad for the guy, and he said he would send me my money back, but I was like, you did spend some time ripping me off. Like, that takes time to rip somebody off. Anyway, so I think if you're like good, because the one guy that I hired before he wanted to move into his van was good. He went through that code in like 2 hours, and I think he charged $50 to like maybe $75 or $65 an hour. In like 2 hours, he had like cleaned the code up so it was readable, and he was like, hey man, I'm sorry I'm charging you 2 hours for this, but this took me that long to fix this code. And I was like, no. And he asked me like a million questions right off the bat. Like, what is this supposed to be doing? Is it working? Because some of the code did work. Joker applied to a job of worker, even already did what they wanted before. It would take a couple seconds. They replied to me that I'm not doing that anymore. I'm doing this other thing with a was it like a scam that they wanted you to do? But yeah, Sailwink, I don't know. What do you guys think, chat, for an hourly rate? Sailwink, you have like pretty professional experience though. Like, you're not like some dude who's just learning like I am, right? Your years of real coding. All right, what are we doing here? Time multiplier, we move that over. This still does need to be public, even though it says, what are these other things? Yeah, let's get rid of this thing. Yeah, I guess maybe try to find. So yeah, if you're putting a thing on Upwork, tell me and I'll criticize it. Give you create God, whatever it's called, creative. What is the words I'm trying to think of? You guys know constructive criticism. There we go. On it. Yeah, constructive criticism. Because I have actually hired like probably 5 people off that. This was years ago, but and I did freelance stuff for myself in my IT job, and we're gonna want to change this actually to the other thing. So for my IT job, and it was all word of mouth, and I originally started at $50 an hour, but I didn't like it that much, so I raised the price to $100 an hour. But I didn't like doing it that much, so I raised the price to $200 an hour, and this is for like help desk type stuff. And because I thought at $200 an hour, no one would hire me, and then I wouldn't have to do it. And still a few people hired me. Once again, word of mouth. But the problem was getting them to pay me. They always wanted to, I'll pay you next time. And I build in 15-minute increments. What did we call this new number? It was multiplier, time multiplier. Hourly rates are a scam as a whole. Do you even value time over the product because it benefits me to take longer? Would you rather good work 5 hours of 50 hours? When things are done hourly, it's your value how long it takes you. So that is an interesting question. So I'm pro hourly over salary. So salary I think is a ripoff. In a normal job. And so I've looked at. I don't think I can bring it up because there's too much porn. We'll give it a shot here. I think what is it called? Let me move this over here because of the porn. Let me move this because of the porn. I'm pretty sure it will be. I'm pretty sure they're grayed out. I was. Oh no! I'm pretty sure on Reddit they gray this out, and you have to like. So I've looked at this many a times, looking for artists for like my Hex Demon game. Yeah, so it does gray it out. I was like very slowly scrolling through here, and they do generally. So how it works with this is they generally. I feel like it's commission. It actually says kind of over here. Commission artists, one of these, so there's two different ones. I don't like this guy at all, but I was looking at his thing because somebody told me to. Don't think that I'm pro that guy because I looked at it. There's another one of these. A game dev classified. One of these has like how they do it in. So I'm making this story so long. Basically, I thought it. So if we look at Hex Team, all right, we're just gonna give up on doing any more code. We already accomplished some of it. We accomplished more than I wanted. So that's we're gonna close this here. Let's look up at Hex Demon here. I haven't opened up Hex Demon in forever, so we're gonna it's gonna be disaster, but it's a good example of what we're talking about for a number of artists. So you're still at the how much you should charge phase because it also depends. It's really dependent on country, honestly. And you can sort like on Upwork, you can pick only from certain countries. So Hex Demon has I have a certain number of graphics, right? So this is easy for me. I'll make this bigger. So with these current like cards and stuff, like so I know that I need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. This is just the cards that pop up on the screen. I don't know if this thing will run. Let's see. It's the wrong scene. Don't look at that. That's a secret. I want this thing to pop up, but I don't think it will because I don't think. What are you doing? Are you actually loading? No, you're done. Okay, it's these cards. No, it's not. It's this card. So there's like just with its current test phase, there's 10 of these, right? And so it'd be great to be like, hey, I need someone to make. I would want the same artist for everything, right? so that all of their stuff matches. So it would be nice just to be like offer a project to say, hey, make these 10 things. But then the problem with that is that you're not going to get the same quality of work. Like they're going to be different if I do a different project for every artist, right? And then on one of these, it talked about hourly, which I don't see it on here. It's like has a link to hourly. I don't remember if it could have been a bunch of these different ones because I used to look at these kind of regularly because Hex Demon's pretty close to being where I need artists. So then, and I assume that this applies to code too. I don't know who owns the rights, but there's in the artist community, they would still own the rights, so you have to pay them for the rights, which makes sense. Oh, you want to find talent? Oh, I thought you were talking about being talent. What are you hiring? Half of them probably use Placeit. Oh, they're just taking other people's stuff. That's why I was using like Reddit and things. Sorry, I'm behind on chat again. I'm just fucking it all up today. Oh, he wants Stinkle. Wait, Stinklewinks is talking about himself in third person. Wants me to help code a point of sale for his music shop. Oh, I can't code that. I don't know shit. He can be a douche. Well, I won't tell him that he said that. Anyways, long story short, I would prefer to pay someone hourly. And I would need to own all the rights. And that shit adds up. So, like, look at this person. This person alone is like, if you want a full body render or whatever, that's for one image is $65. And I don't know if their art's worth it. Actually, I kind of like their sketches. But it adds up quick, And so this is back to Joker talking about the project versus hourly. So yeah, a project would be nice, but what happens if they hurry through it and they give you like how many changes do you get? Like what happens if they drew it and returned your project is black and white, but you asked for color and then they made it this, but you wanted actually like full color with, what I mean? Like what level of argument? But if you pay hourly, are they going to do that just to soak up more hours? You know what I mean? Like there's no win situation. Yeah, this is some sketchy. It's scrolling here. This is why when I did logos, the papers I had clients basically signed over all rights to them of the art, except I would retain certain rights with the art, such as being able to display it. Yeah, so I think that would be totally, like, especially because artists need to be able to advertise with their skill with stuff that they've done. But I think that's pretty common. Yeah, there's a lot of anime porn. If you're into that, just go to this Hungry Artist thing. There's like a lot of it. Like, I mean, look, can we go? No, that's furry porn too. So much. I didn't know that there was so much. Like, there was like so much demand. Wait, this is 10 months ago. Why is this showing up? And some of these people I also think are undercharging. Like some people are charging $5. They charge like $5 for a picture, and I think there needs to be like a union or something. Here's some not furry porn, but we're on the way there. Yeah, I don't know. That's an interesting thing that you brought up, and it's also, Joker, I'm surprised that you aren't more hourly, Stinglewinks, are you looking for an hourly person or by project? Or do you want to be, wait, you want to hire someone to do a point of sale for your music shop? Is it only your music or is it other people's music too? Because you might be able to go in with other people. Why don't you use like one of the pre-built stores? Um, the I'm trying to think of one. Whoa, let's scroll past that one really quick. Uh, it's massive. Oh, not for your actual music, but for physical things. I feel like that would be something you would do yourself with all your skills, man. You got like crazy website skills. Look at this, a sword wielding nun. I'm kind of into it. Yeah, I like this. What type of instruments do you make? I didn't know about this. Maybe you told me, but I already forgot. Yeah, there's actually some gyms occasionally on these sites. You hit like some artists that are fucking amazing. And a lot of them are too inexpensive, or not too inexpensive, but they undercharge. Oh, maybe you did mention this where you do like crazy, like you actually do the electronic part. You got like the fuck is that called? Um, I don't think I have any pedals. I was looking. And back in my punk rock days, there's a pedal that everyone had. It was neon orange, but I can't remember the name of it. For the distortion, it was a distortion pedal that everyone loved. All right, enough of me browsing the internet, right? My 3 hours I'm already done with my 3 hours. Game character generators. Oh, here's a YouTube thing. Tube Scream. I'm gonna copy this. I gotta open it up on the other window though and mute it. Wait, what is this? Stop charging hourly. Okay, it's only 2 minutes long. What is going on here? Let me, I don't know if I'm allowed to watch other videos while I make a video. Right? Should I? It's probably bad. And isn't that like what people do now? That's all they do? So this is kind of interesting because I did had all that housework done recently where he was paid hourly, the guy who was doing the housework, and he would disappear for like half the day. And I swear, I have no proof that he's a drug addict except for weird shit like that where he would disappear for half the day. And he's like it's kind like this kind of hits on to like I felt like he was padding the time, and it took him fucking months. And he actually didn't even show up one day, and he wanted to get paid for it. He just did. He just didn't show up at all, and I texted him. Yeah, yeah. Well, he told me he went to his car and slept one time, actually twice. So the thing was at like the beginning, since he's done work for me before, and he's been amazingly fast and stuff. Um, and he did a great job every other time. This is for my house stuff, and he like everyone I know uses this guy as like a handyman. And then this time he was like a different person, and like that's why I think he was on drugs or is on drugs. Uh, like he would sneak off to go do drugs, but it was so he was like my friend at the beginning. I'm putting it in quotes because we're not like I'd ever hang out with the guy, but so he would talk to me like we were friends, but not as I was his client. And so he would tell me all this shit he fucked up, and that he had went and took a nap and stuff. And I'd be like, I'm paying you for that. And so I can see what this guy's saying so far. I mean, we only have a minute left. So the thing is that I would feel if the guy, let's say the guy did it in this guy did the logo in an hour, but I paid him what I thought was 10 hours worth, I would feel ripped off. And that's kind of the thing that's the problem with like spec work is that I feel like if it's easy to make so I don't think there's no winning in this situation, honestly. You know what I mean? Like if it's $1,000 logo, but I know it only took him an hour, I would feel ripped off. Like if I paid $1,000 for a logo, but then I found out it only took him an hour. If I didn't know how long it took him, let's say so if he lied to me and it took him an hour, but he's told me it took him 10 hours, I'd be completely satisfied. You know what I mean? Like that's $100 an hour, but which is a lot to me. Like I don't get paid that in real life. You know, like it's this is where we could just have to all do everything ourselves. And he is right about the times suck. So back to the people asking me questions, and like I knew that they couldn't do it because they weren't asking me enough questions. But then there is also like some of them asked me too many questions. That one guy, even though he was amazing, sometimes I thought he was just wasting my time with the questions. Like sometimes I'd be like, we already talked about this shit. And the guy that worked on my house, he did spend like a lot of time coming down here because I'd be working my day job. I'm in the basement. I'm actually at my work computer. I mean, it's a personal computer. He would come down and I felt like was wasting my time. And so I do understand what he's saying there. But at the same time, they need to, yeah, see, and that's the other thing. And do you add in your school? This came up recently where someone, I think it was like on Reddit or something, someone said, do I add in my school, the amount of the 4 years of college that I did for this, that you're also paying for it? Because you are, like that, like should they add it onto their itemized list? Because a person can't do it if they don't know how to school. And, you know, how many hours of real life, you know, they were being facetious. They weren't going to really add the hours on there, but the hours in there. How much of real life single wings have you spent learning your skills? So should you add those hours in? You know what I mean? Like because someone who, if you just hired a random person off the street, they're not going to know the skills that you have. And so like that's why the price is more. But then, yeah, the whole thing's crazy. I think it's a lose-lose unless you get lied to effectively. Who is this guy? Is he just like some uh uh work guru, businessman? Yeah, that one guy, I don't know. The guy who worked at my house. Every single day I find something that's fucking wrong. It's crazy. Yeah. Anyways, that's an interesting. In conclusion, what did we decide? Hourly is bad, and project not for IT stuff, because with help desk stuff you got to do hourly because there's no way around it. Oh, we want that one thing. This one we didn't care about though. This one is just whatchamacallit. It doesn't matter. It's just a single number. So what is our conclusion? It is better. You just got to lie good. It is better to do package deals. So one of my friends hired somebody off of Fiverr for like $50 to do something for him. And he revised something with the person, and the person was willing to do it. You know, the person was probably, hourly, getting paid like $5 an hour. But he revised it so many times that he said that he couldn't believe the guy hadn't told him to fuck off, because he just kept saying, yeah, I need to have another revision. And so that's where the project thing, I think, sometimes gets screwed. Like the person who's working on it gets screwed. Joker, have you encountered that where when you were doing your work? I'm going to call it a day here in like 2 seconds. Depends on the task. Yeah, so back to this thing you're working on. What would you need me to do? I don't know how to do anything. I'm fucking useless. I'm good at IT stuff. I'm good at help desk stuff. But that's it. I'm surprised. Isn't there like a built-in thing you could use? Because that's like a lot of work, and then you're gonna get fucking hacked. People are gonna steal credit cards. My IT skills. Yeah, no, that's definitely the smaller. That's how I do it in this. That's why I like having all the tasks in my project, is so that I can checkbox them off. Be like, yeah, this shit's done. Yeah. Are you streaming it, or are you just doing it offline? Are you in my Discord? Let's fix this. Well, didn't I already fix this? Did I like? Oh, we're in the old. No, this is here. Oh, while we were talking, I copied and pasted this thing. I wanted to ban and block this person, and then I'm gonna call it a day. This person with the selling viewers. I feel like I gotta keep on top of this because I want them to fucking die. Let's see, streaming tools. No, where are we at here? Community. No. Settings. Here we go. Moderation. I'm gonna add a new word in. And I feel like if we all work together, eventually these people would give up. But I mean, they're not people. It's just like somebody's bot. There's that, the dead internet theory. What the fuck am I looking for here? Moderation. Ban chatters. Blocked terms and phrases. Enter a phrase. And there it is. Then I gotta go back and ban this person. I mean, they're not a person. They're not a person. They probably were once a person. Oh, no. account created 17 hours ago. Now it looks like they're putting like some sort of like random letters and numbers at the end. It used to, so it looks like they're using 2 words, then just some random letters and numbers. For a while, it was very obvious. I'm gonna report this sucker. You're a bot. Should we raid somebody? I want to raid somebody that I haven't raided before. That's what we should do. Then I'll call it a day. Selling viewers bot. Submit report. And then block user. And then I should follow them, right? Then ban them. There we go. You down to raid? Did he? Was it by the same person? Well, now that they're banned, it was like cynical something. Cynic something. All right, let's see what we got here. Raid a channel. We want let's see who we got here. I want to filter by the same topic. Let's keep the software development, and then whoa. Let me click back on this. Let's also like search for another, like normal by category software development. But a Godot person. Us poor Godot people got to stick together. And who we got here? We could move this over. I think I rated that guy once before. Critters. Multiplayer bots. He's at 36 viewers. Maybe we need to find somebody who has less. We've rated that dumb guy before. I'm not calling him names. That's actually his. That's actually his name. We rated this dumb shit before. No. WZR, how's it going? And it looks like YouTube chat is still. Whoops, that was a misclick. Ask away here. What did we do? Godot. Oh, did I push my code? I didn't push my code. Let's close this thing. This code I'm not going to push. I don't think any. Oh, I closed it. Let's this thing. This is Hex Demon. One day I do need to go back and look at that. It's actually pretty far along. It's like, what do we have here? This is not the thing I wanted. It's actually really far along. It's like by far the closest. Want to try to make something very small to give a shout out to Game Dev. Got GF learning to do art, and she can do it. What do you think would be a good project for us to try? You're doing the back end. All right, what engine are you using? Just out of curiosity. I think. So I recommend Godot. I think it's, it's open source, so you don't have to worry about all the other shit. I just want to push this code, but I think. So I started out with Unity, but I the worry that I switched to Godot when Unity did all that shitty stuff with the business things and the charges, and then they kind of walk that back. And I think the problem with Unity is that that's going to happen again. Started work on implementing a better tick system. I think that that's like with all corporations, it's just you're on borrowed time. Corporations suck. Which is why I switched to Godot. Godot's open source, so you could fork it if you had to. I mean, that would be a hellish nightmare if it happened, but you could do it. You know what I mean? And it supports C#. That's what I'm using. So I think that that's the thing. I feel like so the Unity community is much larger. It's huge, but there's more jerks in it. I mean, obviously. So the percentage, the jerk level, the jerk percentage is higher, I feel like, in the Unity. So let's say, there's more Unity people, but it's a 10% jerk uh, level. Godot has like a 5% jerk level. I haven't missed your message, Casper, by the way. Um, I'm yammering. Like I'm gonna copy and paste here. But yeah, I think start small. I think start with like Godot, and then because of the community's better, and just make like a very simple game, especially if you already have an artist. Like I have always I'm left-handed, so everyone says, my whole life, oh, you must be an artist. And I'm like, no, I can't do any art at all. I can barely draw a line, um, and I can barely write, Um, and so I think if you already have an artist, just create like people always say like tic-tac-toe or something, but create something that you'd want to play, but just so fucking simple. Just like ridiculously simple. And we were talking about earlier that it's like nice to check stuff off. Like if you created a game from start to finish, and this is what I should have done. Like with the Hex Demon, I should have just finished it. If you created a game from start to finish and just like put it out in the world, like don't bother putting it. I mean, you could do it on Steam, but usually like, hey, this is a 2D scroller. Yeah, like you said, like that I just made for fun with my girlfriend or whatever. And then you just make that, and then the challenges that you run into, and then you go for the crazy shit like I'm doing. Then you jump into the massively crazy shit. That's what I would do. Completing one is, and so a lot of people come to chat, and very few people that come into chat have completed games. That's not a problem. It's just that that kind of proves the point of how hard it is to finish something. I'm going to open this up on my other monitor here, Casper. And I don't know what this is. It's a video, I think. I'm so far past the thing. I'm sorry. It's in Polish or something. That's a lot of M's. Is this like Facebook? All right. I gotta call it 8. Oh wait, we didn't raid anybody. I just got sidetracked. Okay, here we go. This time for real, we're gonna raid somebody. But yes, that's what I would do. Like when I say extremely simple, like if you did a side scroller or 2D scroller, I would have like it to be done like in 30 seconds, like a 30-second game. In fact, Joker, do you remember that guy that came into my Discord and then he made a game that was like you could fly up in the air, and he was like for a game jam or something, and all you could do is like fly over some spikes. It was like a side scroller, but you could fly by pushing down space or something, and it was extremely simple. In like something like that. So it was like a 30-second game. I would do that, and then I would start going out from it. All right, who we got here? We've rated that guy before. This guy we've never rated. It's his birthday. Cats. He's got cats. No Crocs. Sorry, Joker. Well, if you made Flappy Birds, then you can skip that. Go straight to the better stuff. Cats in background, role play. Does this still have Godot in here? It does. Wait. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. What's going on here? Filter. Okay, it does. I don't see Godot in this guy's thing. I'm into the cat idea though. Geeks Anonymous. No. It's totally fine. Welcome anytime. I like to talk, so it's a good excuse. Rob Coda. He's doing C# and Godot. Prototyping Godot. Can we make a basic multiplayer game? Let's go with this guy because he's doing C# and nobody uses C# and Godot. Rob Coda. All right, here we go. Thank you guys for dropping by. And I will talk to you tomorrow. I'm going to stream like normal tomorrow. So I will talk to you then. Thank you again. And I'm supposed to talk for 5 seconds here. Yeah, whatever Joker said there. All right, thank you guys. Talk to you later.